Fantastic Four dial design coming right up. Mr. Clicks Flicks is brought to you by Lucky Dice Cafe out of Huntsville, Alabama, home of the ROC. No matter if you're in the United States or around the world, Lucky Dice Cafe has a winning role for all your gaming needs. You can visit them at luckydicecafé.com or on their Facebook page using the link found in the description of this video. Alright guys, so here we are. We are doing something brand new for the channel. We are looking at some dials that I designed. So if you enjoy this kind of video, make sure to put in the comments below that you want me to do more videos like this. I will be more than happy to do all the videos like this you guys want. It's really fun. I just wasn't sure that there was too much interest, but I can't rein in the hype train right now for possibly getting Fantastic Four figures. I'd been thinking for a while about doing a Fantastic Four video where what I'd like to see as far as the figures were going to be the topic of the video, but Happy Little Heroclix beat me to the punch. Apparently I thought about it too much. I watched his video. It was a really good video, and I was still hemming and hawing around about making it because I didn't want to to seem like I was copying. But with the blessing of Happy Little Heroclix, I'm presenting this video to you. The link to his Fantastic Four videos in the comments of this video, so feel free to go over there, check it out. It's a really good channel over there. Make sure to give him a sub. Just does a ton of great stuff over there. So now we are going to get into my designs. I just have 4 designs of the 4 main Fantastic Four figures. If you guys would like to see like sort of the characters I would have in a Fantastic Four centric set, put that in the comments below. To do a whole set would be a lot of work. I don't think I'd be able to do dials for everybody, but I can at least give you a character list. So let's go ahead and get this flipped over and we'll take a look. Alright, so here we are taking a look. All the figures I have are at 125 points, and Happy Little Heroclix, he talked about how he would want basically 50 through 100 points at each 25 point level. So I decided to take a slightly different take on that, going for the 125 point line. So all 4 of them would be a 500 point team. The more I look at what I did, the more I'm like, maybe these are 150 point characters. You guys let me know in the comments below if you think I was spot on with the pointing or not. I tried to give each character a specific role within the team, so hopefully as we're looking at these, the roles of the characters become apparent. So let's just go ahead and get in this. So number 40 is a invisible woman, real name Sue Storm. Team ability Fantastic Four. I would just resurrect the old Fantastic Four team ability. There's no sense in. I thought it was a pretty decent team ability to begin with, so that could be a thing. Happy Little Heroclix said about a new Fantastic Four team ability. I could see them wanting to make a new one, but the old one was perfectly fine. She has 6 range, single target, 125 points, has the Fantastic Four, Celebrity, Lady Liberators, and Scientist keywords. Pretty much, well, I think maybe just her and Sue got Scientist. As far as I know, Ben and Johnny aren't really scientists. So, but she did get the Scientist keyword. She is a scientist in her own right. She starts off, and I apologize, you can't really see these. I did my best to design the dials, but anyway, she has a normal boot symbol. Starts off with a 7 movement with a special. The little boxes weren't showing up for me. A 10 attack with a special, 19 defense with willpower, and a 2 damage with shape change. She has a trait here. She has a trait which is protect my family. Barrier free, but only to place 4 markers. Barrier is only 4. That was just flubbed by me. Barrier, but only to place 4 markers for free. These markers do not need to be adjacent to each other, and friendly characters adjacent to the barrier markers may replace their defensive values with Invisible Woman's printed defensive value if they share a keyword. So she's got the Fantastic Four. Obviously, that's what I was going for. I want you to run all 4 of the Fantastic Four. Celebrity, there's actually a few celebrities that would really do well with this. Lady Liberators is pretty few and far between, but it's there for a while. You could run it and do okay, so I like that. And this would definitely help a scientist theme. And then it has Invisible Woman gains +1 defense for each adjacent barrier marker. So I just sort of basically stole what Dust does with her sand tokens. But overall, I like the idea of non-adjacent barrier and Sue Storm defending her family, giving her like a pseudo defend without calling it defend. Her special on her speed is invisible is in my name. Non-adjacent opposing characters can't draw a line of fire to invisible woman. This just seemed like a better fit than stealth. I wanted to give her a downgrade to stealth later on in the dial, so I felt like this was the best way to do it. It could be broken, but I really tried to rein in her attack and damage values to where you were really going to have to dump in some perplexes to make her your main attacker. So I felt like it wasn't that bad. And as long as they were adjacent, the idea that I had is, if they were adjacent to her, they can still draw a line of fire for outwit and probability control and things like that. So, if you based her, there was still an option. It wasn't just a blanket, can't draw lines of fire. And then she has a special on her attack, get my family to safety. Invisible woman can use telekinesis. She may use it as free if she has no action tokens. So straight up just stole stuff from the old Uncanny X-Men Fast Forces Jean Grey. She was only 50 points, so I felt like that really wasn't going to be that expensive of an ability. I didn't feel like it would really increase the point value of this figure. So the general idea with her is you're using your TK to place out your figures. You're using her barrier to give them a square of blocking terrain to protect them. And then you're replacing her defensive values. As you can see, her attack and damage values are pretty abysmal. When I think of Sue Storm, I don't really think of somebody that's attacking. I think of somebody that's really trying to defend the people that she loves. So I did give her willpower on 3 different clicks 1, 2, and 7. But I did give her phenomenal defensive values that I felt. I gave her 2 19s up front, 2 20s in the back. You might not get to those 20s, so I didn't feel too bad about doing it. And if you have a 20 defense, you have an 8 attack for 1 damage. So you're just doing you're probably not going to be hitting. You're just defending and throwing up barriers to hopefully help out your other Fantastic Four figures. Then after her first 2 clicks, she uses that special attack, or loses that special attack power. And that special movement power she loses after the first 3 clicks. Then in the middle there, she loses her willpower altogether and just ends up with stealth and TK. Then I gave her Force Blast at the end of the dial on those couple 1 clicks with support, just because I felt like that would give her an offensive capability also that wasn't readily apparent. And on click 7, she also does regain that special attack value for the double TK. So she is going to be able to free action TK people in close, try to make a support roll. But if they're replacing their defensive value with hers, an 8 on a 20, you need a 12. You can choose not to do that, I guess, but I felt like giving her the low attack values really helped balance out how good her defensive values were. And then, like I said, she gets +1 defense for each barrier. So if you're just burying her around her, and it's at the end of the game, and she's on her last click, you get a 23 defense at ranged or close. So it's going to be hard for somebody to take her out if they mess up and get her on one of those last 2 clicks. All right, next up we have Mr. Fantastic. I just gave him number 41. I started in the 40s. It felt right for the Fantastic Four. So we got Mr. Fantastic, real name Reed Richards, team ability Fantastic Four, 0 range, 125 points. Fantastic Four, Illuminati, scientist, and celebrity keywords. Starts off with a 9 movement with leap climb, standard boot symbol, 10 attack, 18 defense, and 2 damage. And he has a ton of stuff going on for him. He's basically got a special in each slot. I want to Reed to be a very utility piece. And he's going to end up a lot like Sue Storm, where you see like he's not your attacker. He's a support figure. And 125 is a lot for it, but I felt like he really brings a lot to the table. So his first trait is Stretch, Giant Reach 3. I felt like that was pretty much a gimme. You need to give him some kind of giant reach to reflect some of his stretch powers. His other trait is Fantastic Car. Power, generate a Fantastic Car token as depicted on this card. Passenger 4 can only be piloted by characters with the Fantastic 4 keyword. I didn't want another overdrive situation on our hands, so I felt like this was a good way to do that. where you're either forcing him to be the pilot or another Fantastic Four member. Does have another trait called First Family, and I was deciding, I haven't decided yet if it's just 5 points or 5 points per character. You guys let me know in the comments below what you feel it would be best. I'm not sure if it's overpowered to just have it 5 points or not. But it's 5 points for each character with the Fantastic Four keyword. When 2 more characters with the Fantastic Four keyword and adjacent to one another misses an attack, that character may re-roll that attack. So basically I was trying to give him prob without wording it as prob, so that you could re-roll your attack and then theme prob was the idea, so you'd get basically 2 re-rolls. Then he has a special on his speed, which he only has on his last click, which is Ultimate Nullifier Power. Choose an opposing character within 6 squares in line of fire. Until your next turn, that character can't use powers, abilities, team abilities, be moved, or placed. I didn't want to take away power actions because I felt like that was giving basically your opponent had to take a turn off with their main guy. I didn't think that was fair. I felt if I left them with power actions, they could still at least bring in an ID card to do something. Then he has a special on his attack called The Baxter Building is My Lab. Perplex, but may use it to increase any value other than damage +2 or -2. That's just pretty good. +2 perplexes seem to be fairly cheap at this point, so I didn't feel like that was going to increase the the points on him too much. And I felt like if I kept it off the damage, that would really help make it a fair piece. Then he has a special on his defense, which is I have to stay flexible. Mr. Fantastic can use plasticity, shape change, and super senses. Characters within 3 squares treat Mr. Fantastic as adjacent for movement purposes. So I basically was giving him Lashina type powers. I feel like the shape change is appropriate for his stretching abilities and also the super senses. I felt like that covered it pretty good. And then as you can see, later on the dial, he ends up losing that special defensive power and gaining plasticity and super senses basically by itself. So let's take a look at his special damage power, which is scientific leadership. Characters within 2 squares are considered adjacent. On the result of a 6, you may remove an action token from 2 friendly characters with the Fantastic Four keyword instead of 1. So basically giving him a super leadership. He only gets those the leadership on the first 2 clicks, the special defense on the first 2 clicks, the special attack on clicks 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7. I felt like I had to give him at least some kind of utility. And then he does end up with a couple clicks of just leadership and a couple clicks of just outwit and perplex. Again, I was just trying to make a general utility figure. I feel like him with the Fantastic Car, which we'll take a look at here in a minute. I did make the token. Just generate a lot of mobility with your team and a lot of stat manipulations. He's not able to do too much himself. Again, I was trying to keep his attack and damage values fairly low to balance out the fact that he was doing so much for your team. So here we are looking at the Fantastic Car. It is the bystander that Mr. Fantastic will make. Has a 13 movement with phasing teleport, 0 attack, 18 defense with toughness, the vehicle symbol, 0 damage with prob. There was no prob that I was really able to come up with for on this team, so I felt like, why not just give it to the Fantastic Car? I suppose you could make like a Herbie or something that has prob, but this was my way on getting it with the original 4. So it has 1 trait, gets us where we need to go. After a move resolves, where only characters with the Fantastic Four keyword were carried, roll 1d6. On the result of a 6, you may assign 1 character a non-free action. I just thought that was something cool to do. Fantastic Four isn't really a huge keyword, so I felt like limiting to that wouldn't like break the meta or anything like that. 13 movement's pretty huge, but when you consider, it's carrying 4 people, not that bad. And like I said, just brings prob to the table. It's up to you guys on who you'd pick. I'm hard pressed to pick which one of these guys I'd put in there because they all bring a lot to the table. You'd probably end up having to figure out a different figure from the set to put in there because these guys are all pretty important on their own. All right, next up we have the Human Torch, number 42, Johnny Storm. Team ability Fantastic Four, range 6 with dual target, 125 points. Fantastic Four celebrity and negative zone keywords. Starts off with an 11 movement with running shot, 12 attack, 18 defense with energy shield deflection, and 3 damage with range combat expert. He has improved movement, ignores hindering, improved targeting, ignores hindering. He has a trait and a special on his attack and his damage. His first trait is Flame On, Poison. Characters within 2 squares are treated as adjacent. I just felt like for his fire-based powers that would, be an adequate representation, and also, just serve as a deterrent because I didn't give him any reducers, didn't give him particularly high defensive stats. Now, if you do pair him up with Sue Storm, you can really help his stats out, but still, another character with poison could get in there. So this is just a deterrent for that. And then it says characters within 1 square are dealt penetrating damage. The Human Torch can't use the carry ability. I felt giving him the carry ability would kind of break him. And also, I had trouble imagining somebody with arms that are on fire carrying anybody. I guess maybe the Thing, but how is he physically strong enough to carry the Thing? So I decided to just not do that at all. Then he has a special on his attack. Time to light it up. Energy explosion. When the Human Torch uses it, all hit targets are dealt his printed damage value and given a flame marker. At the beginning of your opponent's turn, characters with a flame marker are dealt 1 penetrating damage. Remove the flame marker after the damage is dealt. So there's a few ways they can get around it. So I didn't feel like that would totally break it. The printed 3 damage for energy explosion is really powerful, but I felt like since the other Fantastic Four members, at least the 2 we've covered so far, are pretty defensive or utilitarian, I had to make the other 2, especially if you're going to run all 4 at 500 points, I had to make the other 2 super good. So that's where I went with that. Then he has a special on his damage. He only has it on click 7. It's called Final Flame On. This is I was thinking of the scene in the Hinder run of Fantastic Four, the final Fantastic Four before they flipped over to Future Foundation, and that's why he got the negative zone keyword and why he got this. Pulse Wave. Hit characters are dealt 4 damage. After action resolves, deal Human Torch 1 penetrating damage. So you're able to sidestep to be able to do that. Pulse Wave would cut his area of effect down to 3 squares, dealing everybody 4 damage and then KOing them. I basically was thinking Glass Cannon when I did this. He does have that special attack on clicks 1, 2, and 3, and then he gives way to standard energy explosion, and then he has hypersonic speed for 2 clicks and then sidestep. I didn't give him super great damage values because I was worried that it was going to get out of hand real quick with that special, and I didn't want to make him too broken. I feel like I probably underpointed him a little bit, but I think I was at least in the neighborhood. All right, and last up here we have the ever-loving blue-eyed Thing. He is number 43. He's the Thing, Benjamin Grimm. Fantastic Four team ability, 0 range, 125 points. Has the Fantastic Four celebrity, brute, monster, Avengers, and Guardians of the Galaxy keywords. I went keyword crazy with this guy. He has a 7 movement with a special, 11 attack with a special, 18 defense with indomitability and invincibility, 4 damage with a special. He has 1 trait, which is I'm Coming Stretch. Once per game, give a friendly character named Mr. Fantastic your power action. If you do, place the Thing adjacent to that character and heal them both 1 click. I don't know. It felt themey to me. That's why I thought about doing something with Johnny where it was a trait about doing the Fantastic Four in flames in the air, and it was able to call basically everybody with Fantastic Four keyword to his position. But I felt like that was going to get real broken real quick. I felt like, basically doing this and having it only be once per game Probably wasn't going to be too game breaking. It'll be game breaking for a turn. It's not like it's, you know, the entire game. His speed is it's clobbering time. Move, after action resolves, free quake. If one or more characters were dealt damage, the thing may make a close attack targeting one of those characters. So basically I took 50-point Hulk and amped him up to the next level where I was, you know, making another attack. He only has an 11 attack, which is pretty good, especially when you consider Reed can get that up to a 13. But I was just trying to think of each figure on its own, and I feel like 125, that's pretty good. You know, and that's, he doesn't have, you know, leap climb or anything like that, so probably not going to get too out of hand. Then he has a special on his attack called, just like on Yancey Street, Super Strength. Free, destroy an adjacent square of blocking terrain and give the thing a heavy object. If the object is dropped, immediately destroy the object. So what I was thinking was the old, and here, let's make this so that you guys can see it, was the old Rip It Up battle feat card, which I think gave you a light object, now that I'm thinking about it. But I wanted to give him, you know, basically all the objects he wanted, depending on the map you got. But I didn't want to get in a situation where, you know, somebody had a figure that worked off of objects and you were able to just go in basically an infinity loop with him. So that's why I said if he dropped it, like let's say hypothetically he was by a an overdrive, like he'd drop the object for overdrive to make it into an overdrive token, but then it'd be destroyed. So I felt like that was a safe bet there. And then his damage special is just like fighting the Hulk, charge flurry. So you can give him, after, you know, you quake in there and then give another attack, you can charge and flurry or just flurry afterwards. And I felt like that was just a really good thing. Now his specials on his attack and speed are the first 3 clicks, and then that damage special is on these middle 2 clicks here. I felt like just having them all together was going to be broken, but you're going to be able to basically quake in, you know, 7 movement quake, 9 movement if you decide to use Reed's perplexes that way, and then if you hit anybody, you're able to attack them again, and then you know, once that gives way, you have plasticity and super strength and 18 defense with impervious and charge flurry, and then he ends up with a 17 with invulnerability. I tried to make this guy the tank of the team, and again I feel like I probably undercost him. This feels like a 150 point dial the more that I look at it, but I could be wrong. In today's day and age of stop clicks, 125 is probably worth it for a figure that doesn't have any stop clicks. You know, just because you can, you know, with all the X-Men and Avengers and stuff like that, you can barrier it off so that he, you know, basically can't do his thing. Alright guys, so that is my 4 Fantastic Four characters. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of them. Let me know also what figures you would design for a Fantastic Four set. Maybe just give me a general feel of that figure. I'd really find that interesting to make, to read. And also, like I said, make sure to check out Happy Little Heroclix. And I want to say thank you to him for giving me his blessing to make this video after he already did. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, give it a share. It really helps keep me motivated to make these videos. And that's all I have for you today. As always, please remember that it's only a critical miss if you don't have probability control.